Well, it's the beginning of the year, and a lot of people are doing their wish lists for what they would like to see different toy companies make and that sort of thing. I did my own NECA wish list a little while ago, and so I do another one here of the Bandai Movie Monster series. I've seen a few people do their wish list, so might as well do mine as well. Now, I'm not exactly like a huge Bandai Movie Monster series collector, deliberately so. It's one of the reasons I invested in the Mezco 5 XL, is that preserved me from going down the rabbit hole of Bandai Movie Monster series. You know, there are people out there who have every single one, right? It's like a monster museum of Movie Monster series figures. So I don't go out of my way to collect them. I only have a few. Godzilla 54, of course, because I happen to like this Godzilla. This is the classic Godzilla. This represents the original film, which is still my favorite Godzilla film. Don't have a Shin Gojira, eventually, someday I probably will, or Godzaban, because these are the only figures you can get for Godzaban. The three Godzilla brothers right there. Also picked up the little Rodan, baby Rodan as well, because I love Godzaban. Godzaban is still the funniest show on the internet. And then, of course, ones that pertain to my King Kong collection, right? So the old Mechanicong, have him, Gorosaurus, because, again, King Kong escapes, fits in with my King Kong collection. So just odds and ends that I pick up because they're the only figures available of those characters, or they fit into my Kong collection or whatever. Or I just happen to like that particular monster. So, admitting that I'm not like a gigantic movie monster series collector, what would I like to see in 2025 or going forward for a movie monster series? Well, first of all, Godzaban. Like, they made the three Godzilla brothers, and then they also made the Rodan and Anguirus, who I did not get because he's just like a cutesy version of Anguirus. I want more of the original characters. Give me more of the original characters. So, top of my list, Grandpa Hedo. Like, come on, how is there not Grandpa Hedo? He is one of the best parts of the show. So, Grandpa Hedo, and even if you want to mold him with, like, baby Hedo as well, young Hedo, that would be fine. Grandpa Hedora. Erica, the doll-like, more human-looking version of Biolante, would be a great addition as well. Mata and Tango, the Matangos. Gigan's hot mom and his hot sister, and well, the whole Gigan family, why not? But especially Gigan's hot mom. Kamachi, or like the second form Shin Gojira, disgusting, disgusting little character, with some of the best segments in Godzaban. Make him. I don't know how you would do it, but Tail would be a great one to have, because he's a character as well, and everyone loves Tail. But Shin Gojira's Tail with the face. But Tail would be a great one. I don't know how they would do that exactly. And Miryabi. So, like King Caesar's like sister or whatever, whoever she is. So those Godzaban characters, like the original ones, like not just the cutesified versions of the regular monsters, but like the original characters to Godzaban. Like, come on, get with it. Because so far we've only got like 5 Godzaban figures, and that's not enough. I want the whole line. Okay, so that's Godzaban. But what about like serious figures? Well, let's knock off the obvious ones right off the bat, right? King Kong 1967. I know there's people who want King Kong 1962 as well. I suppose if they made him and he was under $40, I might pick him up just for completeness sake. And if you're going to do him, do Godzilla 62 as well. But I'm not a big fan of the King Kong 1962 look. And as I have said over and over and over again, I'm not so much a fan of the monster as of the movie, right? I like the original King Kong movie. I like King Kong Escapes as a movie. So, I would prefer a King Kong 67. The only 67 representation I have is right there. that Raymond Toys giant 67 King Kong. So it's the King Kong from King Kong Escapes. Alright, to have him, we've already got a Gorosaurus. He's been released already. Ostensibly, this is the Destroy All Monsters version, so if they want to do a repaint for King Kong Escapes, that's fine. And I don't need another Mechanicong. I've got this one. I've got the Raymond Toys ones you can see right up there. So I don't need another one. But, that said, This one is one of the older Movie Monster series ones that does not scale very well with the current Movie Monster series. Figures, they dropped like an inch or so in the last decade or whatever, the last 20 years. So, yeah, a new Mechanicon that fits the current Movie Monster series scale would not be unwelcome, because I don't need one. I've got 3 Mechanicons already. But would I buy them? Yeah. Of course I would. So, there we go. There's my Kongs out of the way. So King Kong Escapes cast, especially Kong 67 and Mechanicon. And if you wanted to go with 1962 Kong, sure. I suppose you could also do the Water Serpent from King Kong Escapes, which all I have for him is just this little figure, Irakawa, I think it's who makes this one. But this little figure of the Water Serpent from King Kong Escapes. So there he is. Now you can't see it because it's the camera is focused on me. But if they wanted to make like this character, I mean, they're making Giant Condor, so why not make the Water Serpent, right? And also, so we're talking King Kong 1962, why not the Giant Octopus as well? I mean, you can just go buy like a octopus toy, like a Giant Pacific octopus toy, like a Schleich or something like that, and that would work fine for your collection. And there are collectors out there who have done that. But official Movie Monster series Giant Octopus, sure, throw him in there. Okay, so that covers the Kong stuff, the obvious stuff that I would want. But on the subject of tentacles, with Giant Octopus, Gazora would be a good one as well from Space Amoeba. As far as I know, I'm not even sure he ever has had a Movie Monster series figure. And if you're going to do Gazora, you might as well do all 3 of the kaiju from Space Amoeba. But at least Gazora, because he's one of my favorites. He's one of my favorite kaiju, period. It's as a giant cuttlefish, he's just a good separation from like your dinosaur type kaiju, which is most common and that sort of thing. But Gazora would be one of them. And I'm not sure how they would do this one, but Dogora. So Dogora from the movie of the same name, the giant space jellyfish that descends upon the planet. Now that one is a toughie. First of all, it's a deep cut. I'm not sure, like, not everyone is super aware of Dogora. But Giant Condor has one, so why not? The problem with Dogora is that he is a space jellyfish, and he's got like these wispy tendrils and things like that. So how do you translate that into a soft vinyl figure? Past soft vinyl figures of Dogora have been a little more abstract. They've been more cartoonish and chunky and based off of more the concept art than what we actually saw, or the promotional stills, than what we actually saw in the movie. But I'm not offended by that. If they just want to like do a modern version of those classic Safubi figures and just as a Movie Monster figure, that'd be fine. That'd be fine by me. I don't mind. I'll take it. Because it's still part of Dogora history, right? It doesn't have to be an exact representation of the monster from movie, even this Movie Monster series. If it was like essentially a remake of the classic Safubis, that would be fine for me. Just have a Dogora figure that's going to cost me like a couple $100 to buy. I would appreciate, and that remaking those classic figures is a part of Dogora history. So a Dogora would be another one that I would want. Matango. Right, so the movie, the monster from the movie, like the most the finished form of a Matango, right? The humanoid mushroom thing. I would love to see a figure of that, Movie Monster figure of that. You can think of it as a kaiju, because they did get kaiju sized in the Godzilla NES game, or just as a human figure, right? And they've done human figures before in the Movie Monster series line. I mean, they do Ultraman, first of all, which is a humanoid figure. And then they've done like the Zillions from Godzilla Final Wars. So why not do a Matango? And if you're going to do a Matango, well, then that opens up as well, right? We can do more human figures as well. So give me a Mysterian as well. Give me the Zillions as well from Invasion of Astro Monster. And they do have, like, the Godzilla store does sell these like $70 statues of Mysterians and Zillions. But why not a Movie Monster series? Like relatively cheaper one. Now, I mean, they're running like $40 now, Canadian. But give me a Mysterian, give me a Zillion. And if we're doing that, also give me a bazillion flying saucer as well. Like, give me the flying machine as well. Even if just so I could add it to my Destroy All Monsters diorama there with the 5-point Excel figures. Would love that. Again, just to get a zillion flying saucers is going to run me a couple $100 on the secondary market. There's also a human transformation series you could do. If you're doing a Matango, you could do Half Human, although that's a controversial film for how it represents the indigenous peoples of the Japanese Isles. Telegian, so the dude, like, either just himself in his black trench coat, or with the effects of him beaming out. H-Man, I mean, that was a little abstract as well, because it's like a blob of green goo. And then, a human vapor, I don't know how you do him exactly, but let's just sculpt it as like a vaporous sort of thing, leading up to like this upper half of a guy, and then like this vaporous bottom half. You could do it that way. But I mean, I would totally buy the Human Transformation series characters as movie monster series. And going back to the flying saucer, if we're gonna do like machinery, if we're gonna do like the vehicles and stuff like that, then Gotengo as well, 1960s Gotengo Etrigon. Having that in a movie monster series would be pretty cool. And if you're gonna do that, why not do like, flying Final Wars Gotengo as well? But that's sort of my wish list of stuff I would actually buy if it came out movie monster series. Again, I don't buy all the movie monster series characters and figures. That's too much money and too many and a huge rabbit hole. But for those particular characters, give me a Dogora, hell yeah, I would buy that. Kong 67, hell yeah. Mechanicong, hell yeah. Zillion Flying Saucer, hell yeah. Absolutely would buy those. Like, no question. And then, of course, all the Gods of Man characters that I want. That's my wish list. There you go, for whatever it's worth.